What's up? It's Stajin back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Iran and the U.S. situation. And, if you woke up early this morning, at least on the East Coast, you would, open TikTok or open your phone news outlet, and you would see that Donald Trump has essentially kind of claimed war on Iran. It's not technically an official war, but they have sent out multiple missile strikes on Iran as of today. So, it seems like throughout Trump's administration, there has been just multiple times where the U.S. has been, the aggressor in a lot of situations. As with kidnapping the Venezuelan president, that was kind of a thing that happened, I think, last year, and now we're kind of back at it again with Iran. And of course, Israel is there to back us up and such like that. But yeah, early morning for the East Coast and probably midday for the people that lived in Iran, they sent out their first missile strikes, and they hit a few key bases. They hit multiple spots in Iran that they were planning to target. They got near their leaders, their supreme leaders, where he was at. In the beginning, they didn't end up killing him at that time, but then later on during the day, they did end up killing him and many key leaders that belong to Iran. Now, this situation is, America's obviously split on it. You have the Republicans going oh yeah, we're freeing them. Trump's telling the people of Iran to conquer their government, make a new one, etc., etc. You have the liberals going this isn't right, this is wrong. And I feel like it's kind of odd because usually in the past on both sides, the president, before, he did anything, he would ask Congress beforehand. But, it's kind of different with Donald Trump. He just doesn't play under those rules for some reason. But, sadly, civilians haven't been left out of the crossfire. There has been school kids that have been hit by the attacks from the U.S. There has been they have mainly been going for officials, but they end up hurting citizens, and that's not the main goal or what you want to happen at all. And of course, Iran did retaliate by sending missiles to Israel at least, and they were a little bit effective, but they weren't as effective because Israel does have top military defense systems against missiles, and they were able to block the majority of them. But we aren't too sure what's going to happen because this is the biggest U.S. attack on Iran since Donald Trump has been in office. Before, he did blow up a few of their key nuclear plants before earlier last year. He kind of this year he took a big step forward and actually started eliminating leaders and such, and he started to actually take this into more of a war type situation. So this has been going on for probably under a week now, and we don't know how much is going to escalate. People are saying World War III could potentially happen, but people always say things like that. I doubt it's going to happen unless China or Russia decide to step in. It's more of a way for the U.S. to maintain control and kind of keep people in check, because they don't want people to have countries that are aggressive towards them to have nuclear weapons, or at least countries that are have done actual actions towards them and retaliated in the past. It just seems it's kind of following the usual trends of history where a leader goes to war, or at least tries to. I don't think we're going to get in a full-on conflict World War III I stated earlier, but it's just kind of to distract us from the Epstein files probably, or at least something else that's going on, the housing crisis and all of the problems going on here, that it just it's just a repeated cycle. And, the U.S. has been funding Israel, and they've been funding them for a long time. A lot of the American public feels the U.S. has been kind of working under them in a way, and they didn't really have to take up this conflict, but that could be part of the reason why, because they did it for Israel, which is one of their allies. I wonder what people in the U.S. are going to start doing, if anybody's going to protest this, or kind of what's going to happen. It seems like one of those things where it probably is going to be a short-lived situation. The U.S. has mainly deployed their Air Force and Navy, but it hasn't been any type of actual land invasion. So I'm expecting it to end quickly. Iran most likely is going to fold since they did lose their supreme leader and such like that. Maybe we will hear stories of, I doubt it, but maybe we might hear stories of the U.S. providing some type of alimony to the families that, we're just civilians. They should have not been affected at all by this. But, I doubt the U.S. government would do any type of thing like that. As Trump probably sees it, it's a perfect opportunity. You have Russia with their hands tied up. You hit all these other, enemy countries with your tariffs, and now you're going to, escalate it a little bit with war, take some of the resources that you want. It's kind of like a typical thing for a so-called leader to do and such. If you disagree with it or not, it's really your choice, to be honest. Yeah, thank you for watching this video. It's Stagin back at it again, and I'm out. Peace.